Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
Hello there.
Yesterday in Nashville, there was a school shooting.
Okay. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but if you don't keep up on the news, I didn't realize there was more from the one that happened just last week.
Where was there one last week? Isn't it sad that there's so many that we just kind of like bypass them in our brain?
Yeah, I mean the weeks kind of blur together, and yeah, I'd seen the headline for the one in Nashville, but I didn't read any of the details. So I guess
3 dead kids, 3 dead staffers, and also the shooter.
So the one I'm thinking about was the one in Colorado, was it, where the student shot 3 of the faculty and then like took off, or is this the same one? Am I like conflating them both? See, okay, there was one last week. Anyway,
so what happened was this is a private Christian school.
God damn!
You don't hear that very often.
Surprisingly not. I mean,
a lot of
repression,
gun nuts and shit, yeah. So here's the angle. 3 9-year-olds were killed. I think one of them was the little girl of the pastor of the school.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so, and then it was a substitute teacher, the top administrator, and sadly, I must say, the janitor, or a janitor, who was like 61.
Aw.
Yeah, he was almost going to get that gold key ring.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make it.
So was it, I'm assuming, a current student, a former student?
Former. 28 years old.
So the one down in Florida all those years ago was a student that had been just out for like a year or two. This guy's been out for a decade.
Yeah, you're talking about Nick What's-His-Nuts at Marjorie Stoneman, whatever, in Parkland.
Yep.
Yeah. And here's why I want to bring this up, because there's an interesting wrinkle to this. The story is that this former student contacted a friend and said, hey, I'm going to die today. Something bad's about to happen. You're probably going to hear about it on the news. And the other person's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to die. I want to die, and it's going to happen. So I just wanted to let you know you were always kind to me, and I just thought you were a beautiful person and wonderful to me. Thank you. They played 8th grade basketball together, for fuck's sakes.
Jesus.
And she's like, no, don't do it. And then she calls the cops, and the cops didn't get back to her until like 6 hours or 5 hours after the fucking shooting. So they probably could have prevented this. Whoops. Now, the shooter, they identified as trans.
Okay.
And here's where alarm bells went off in my head. I'm like, watch Fox News jump on the trans angle and compare it to mental health, like gender dysphoria, to insanity, and, what are we going to do about this? Oh, was this person repressed for being trans? I don't fucking know. There was, air quotes, a manifesto, but the FBI has it, and who knows what they're going to tell us down the line.
Right. Actually share that information.
But it included a map of the school with the plan of how to get around it. And this person, and I don't know if it was a male to female, or it looked like a female. I don't know.
Well, you said if they played basketball together and she called, assuming maybe they were female at the time and this person transitioned.
I don't know.
To male.
But you don't hear about girl school shooters.
No.
It's almost an exclusively male affair, which you could probably argue if this person was born female and is trans. Okay, well then it's still technically an all-male affair. But shot 2 side door windows out, got in, went walking, somewhere's in there, popped off 3 kids, a substitute teacher, the top admin, and the janitor. And the cops arrived. Now, I've watched the body cam footage from 3 different officers. Mm-hmm. And I'm not afraid to admit this. I wept because it's so fucking real. Like, you don't see this ever. You see video of cops rushing the door and they explain what happened.
Or they'll freeze the video before anything gets shown. Yeah.
This was so fucking real because as they're running through the hallway, there's a blurred out body and it's small and it's wearing all pink. Isn't that fucking hard?
God, yeah. There's just some things you can't unsee, and sometimes you want to see these details, and other times you can't let that go.
It scares the fucking shit out of me, dude, because it's like, this is what our kids face. I mean, we talk about all these active shooter drills that were so uproarious in anger that they have to learn this shit because it makes us uncomfortable at this as the world they live in. Mm-hmm. But to see this, and these cops, holy fucking shit. Now, everybody on Twitter is losing their mind saying, hey, Uvalde, you stood outside for an hour while kids got killed. Yeah. And these fucking guys, one guy shows up, right? And they credit 2 officers as being the leads on this. One guy more than anything. He rolls up, he gets out, he talks to a lady. All the kids are locked down, but there's 2 that are missing. Mm. So obviously 2 out of the 3, I would assume.
Yeah.
And he goes to the back, he unzips a bag, he takes out a fucking AR, he goes into the building, he opens the door, and he's like, I need 3. I mean, cops are swarming.
Yep.
And they fucking go in. And you have never seen a team fucking operate like this. And somebody made a comment, and I was like, fucking A. Because like, these guys look like SEAL Team 6. They're calling out commands. They're walking. They're touching each other on the shoulder and saying, on your left, I'm going right. You wait. You go low. You go here. They go into the building, up the stairs, down a hallway, into some classrooms, check a bathroom, up another flight of stairs, down a hallway. Then they see the body of the kid. They go, we got one down. And then they go around another corner and you hear shots. Now, I thought that it was the shooter
shooting at them.
Towards them. It was the shooter out the window at other cops.
Oh.
And this person had 2 assault rifles and like a handgun too. So they go in, and one guy's got his rifle, and it's a long rifle.
Yep.
Pop, pop. Another guy's got a shotgun. I don't think he fired that. And the lead officer, he's like, down, 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 clear. He goes around the corner. He's like, stop moving. Now, it didn't look like this person was moving. It looked like they had been shot twice by the riflemen and were laying down. But he gets up, and he puts 3 rounds into this motherfucker while they're on the ground, and they were writhing. He's like, don't touch the gun, stop moving. Right, okay. As he's shooting. And then they roll up on her, and she's not moving, and they clear the guns. The end. 6 minutes from the time that he rolled up till dead shooter. 6 fucking minutes. 360 seconds. And you got the cowardly fucking rent-a-cop that wouldn't go into Parkland. Yep. You got the Uvalde Sheriff's Department or whoever answered there, and they let all the brown kids at the fucking immigration school get killed.
Wait for hours or whatever it was before they do anything.
And these guys went in like fucking soldiers on a goddamn rescue mission, and holy shit, is it like everybody's praising them. Biden is going to call them, obviously, to be like, you guys are the model for how this shit needs to get handled. This is your job. You say you're going to defend and serve. Fucking go in. And nobody wants to die in the line of duty. But these guys, they gave 0 fucks. There was no hesitation.
They had a job to do, and they knew how to do it, it sounds like. You know what I mean? And that's what training does for you. You know? It makes you, in those moments, not even think about your own fear or your own safety. You just go in and do what you had to do, and they did that. That's incredible.
So I'm going to pause this for a second. Then I'm going to play you the video, and then we'll come back.
A few moments later.
Now, having watched that, and we only saw partial video from what we saw. Do you see what I mean about the smoothness of their tactics?
Oh, yeah. They looked very, very organized, despite obviously being in a heightened sense of awareness and all that kind of stuff. I have to go back to what you first said about, you saw the video and you almost cried. And I am assuming just because of some of the stuff, the imagery and the fact that it was a school and all that.
Oh, there's no almost. I fucking cried.
Yeah.
It hurt to like, this is reality for these kids. This is what we fucking deal with all the time.
As the parent of a 16-year-old, it gets even worse once they get in high school. You get a little even more wary and scared of, something like that happen because it's more likely to happen in the older grades. The fact that this happened at a K through 6 school, again, it just reminds you of, was it Stoneman Douglas? Or what is that one in...
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida.
Oh, I'm thinking of the one in Connecticut. Why can't I think of that one? The one
Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook. Jesus. Yes. I mean, it's just unfathomable that somebody could do that, right?
And they bulldozed the building because they're like, we never want to go back inside there again.
Right. Which gives credit or gives power to those who try to claim it never happened, right? Because the school doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of crap bullshit. But yeah, as a parent, I'm so worried, you know, at times when you hear things like this. And we hear a lot about the mass school shootings, the larger school shootings. We don't hear about a lot of the smaller ones. I mean, when they go and have these statistics on how many school shootings there are a year, you're like, really? That many? Because, you know, not all of them involve death or a lot of casualties or someone like a lone shooter. It's, you know, somebody bringing a gun and firing it at somebody else or something like that.
In the parking lot, or somebody shoots somebody and wings them.
Yeah, right. But as far as the reality of the video, a few years ago, the morning after the Racine protests where Kyle Rittenhouse ended up shooting and killing a few people, the very next morning I went online and there was raw video stuff that was completely unedited. And it's amazing to watch somebody literally lose their life on video. The gentleman with the skateboard that came up and tried to hit him, just seeing him get shot in the chest and then kind of basically crumple and fall. I just watched a murder, you know. And granted, he was exonerated in the trial. It still doesn't change my opinion of what I just saw happen.
Yeah,
right?
You saw somebody killed with a gun.
Exactly, right?
Frankly, the kid shouldn't have fucking been there with the gun.
Never. We can get into gun rights, everything else, but the kid was 17 across state lines with an assault rifle.
And talked to cops who were like, thanks, bud. Thanks for showing up.
Here's
Good
some
job.
water. Yeah.
Fuck all the way off the NRA is how I feel. And I was going to possibly do 2 different episodes, but here's why this affected me so bad today. I don't know if you heard, but 2 weeks ago, there was an incident at my kid's middle school.
I did not hear this.
So what happened was on a Monday, there was a lock-in, not a lockdown.
Okay.
They just kind of keep the kids in the classes while they go and search for a kid who's in trouble.
I gotcha.
And I just heard that there was something, and they took a kid, and the cops arrested him. That's all I heard. I saw an email from the principal the next day stating, oh, yeah, there was an incident. The police came. We handled it. There was a lock-in. There's nothing else to fear. Right? That was the email after the incident. I didn't realize there was a second fucking email. And I didn't read that till Wednesday because I was listening to 93X in the morning, getting ready for work.
Sure.
And they said the name of my kid's school and that a child was arrested for bringing a gun.
So now you get the full details on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
And I said, what the fuck did they just say? Did they just say your school, a kid brought a gun? And she's like, yeah, what the hell? She didn't even know.
Oof. So wait a minute. What's with the principal not being clear on what the reason was? Jeez.
So then I'm thinking about this, and I call Ricky on lunch break to shoot the shit. Sure. And I'm at Target buying some groceries. I'm like, hang on a second. Because if that fucker didn't notify us that there was a gun at school, I'm going to raise holy hell. So I did what anybody who still has a flip phone would do that was inside of a Target store. I went to the electronics department and utilized their fucking Chromebooks that are there as demos to get on the internet, log into my email, go into my email, realize I deleted a second email without reading it.
Sure, because you thought it was maybe a duplicate or something.
And it was sent after school was over that day. And he explains the situation very vaguely. Just says that the student was taken into police custody. It doesn't state whether the kid's expelled or what the fuck.
Did it say he had a gun?
It says there was a gun recovered.
Okay, so at least he said that.
Yeah, and that's all he said, because you know where I got the details of the actual situation? I fucking Googled it.
Okay.
And it was all over the news. And the principal's like, you may have heard about a situation at our school today from your student or in the community, and I just want to clear up some details. And he talked about the gun. So here's what happened. A kid, don't know the gender, don't know the race, don't know the age. It's a middle school, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade.
Right on.
Brought a handgun to school.
So 12 to 14, 12, 13.
Yeah.
In those areas. 11 to, yeah.
Gun in the backpack in the locker. Other kids knew and told. They sought the kid out. It was the parent's gun. Mm-hmm. The mom is quoted in the news as saying it was our gun. It was secured in a safe, and the key was kept somewhere else. So this child had to go, a fucking child, had to put all this together in their head. Find the key, get in the safe, take the gun, hide it in my backpack, go to school like nothing's wrong. It was unloaded and there was no ammo.
Okay,
Thankfully.
so he was just, the child, not he or she, was just probably showing it off then. But you don't know.
I don't. And I asked my daughter, I'm like, so do you know if that kid still goes there? She's like, no one's talking about it. And if they hear us talking about it, they told us that we'll get sent to the office on a referral if we discuss it. So they're trying to get the kids to shut the fuck up so nobody finds out about it.
Is that true, or is that just what the kids are saying? You know what I mean? Like, maybe they get this impression that they can't, or they get in trouble for talking about it.
No. People were talking about it in one of her classes, and the teacher said, if you guys don't stop discussing this, you're going to the office and you're getting a referral.
That's a terrible teacher.
So I responded to the email to the principal saying, I understand that due to data privacy, you can't say anything. And before I say one more word, I want you to know you handled it well. Thank you for taking it seriously, unlike those idiots in Virginia with the 6-year-old that shot the teacher.
Yep.
If you know that story, the kid brought the gun. He showed it off. The teacher told. They said, no, it's no big deal. The kid showed it off at recess. And the kids told the teacher again. And multiple teachers tried to tell the principal, said the day's almost over. Just leave it be. And then he brought the gun into class and fucking shot her. And he was a special needs kid that should have been at a separate program. And he had some sort of learning plan where a parent had to escort him to school every day. You don't belong in regular classes. Get the fuck out.
What gets me about this story is the fact that they supposedly had this gun locked up. They supposedly had the key in another location.
How'd the kid know?
How'd the kid know? One, I call into question if it was really locked up or not. Like, did you actually lock it the last time?
Yeah.
Was there an actual lock on the gun, too? Not just in a safe?
I'm guessing there was no trigger lock.
No. Guessing not.
I won't lie. If I had a gun safe and a gun inside of it, I wouldn't have a trigger lock on the gun because it's behind a combination or a key.
Right.
And that key's going to be somewhere where the kids don't even know it exists.
But obviously these parents didn't put it in a place where the kid didn't know it existed. Either they were lax about it, they didn't realize the kid was paying attention, or they've just got a snoop that goes through everything. Oh, man, I can't imagine moving forward.
But I told the principal, I'm like, I don't blame you. I'm not mad at you.
Sure.
I'm fully supporting you, but you need to tell us more because this is fucking scary. That I learned more details about what happened at the school from the news than I did from you. And I know that you have data privacy, aka litigation avoidance protocol. I put that in parentheses to be a dick.
Yeah.
But the superintendent needs to give us some answers because this is well beyond the pale.
Well, and they need to give you some information so people feel secure in sending their kids back there, right? I mean,
I use the phrase peace of mind will be restored if you just give us a few morsels without violating anybody's rights.
There you go.
But I never heard back. But I did mention in there that my daughter also stated that kids that were caught talking about this were threatened with referrals and being sent to the office in a manner in which they were being hushed, which is not okay.
Yeah.
I know you don't want a circus about it, but there's fights like almost every day at this school. Because she told me today there were 3 fights yesterday and 2 today. And then I looked at my email and somebody brought a fucking airsoft gun to school today. Other kids saw it, reported it, got arrested, out of there. I asked my daughter, I'm like, did you know somebody brought an airsoft gun to school today that looked like a real gun? She's like, I never heard about that. They didn't even do a lock-in. So they're keeping it completely secret from the student body.
Sure.
And you want to encourage these kids to speak up, to be informed, to be brave. How can you in one breath tell them, make sure you tell us if something's wrong, and then when there's something wrong, say, shut the fuck up, we don't need to discuss it.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your worries about getting sued. I don't give a shit. This is my kid. This is way too close to home. This could have been a shooting.
Nothing like giving 12-year-olds mixed signals on what to do and having them, figure it out on their own.
Well, they're already at an age where they're in between, like, starting to garner some ability to apply this knowledge responsibly and introspectively grow themselves by, like, oh, I need to do this, like, discover how to handle the situation. But they're still kind of kids.
Yeah.
So you can't fucking stymie their ability to connect dots and process this information. Because maybe if you tell them who the kid was and what happened and how it went down, then they know what signs to look for the next time there's something similar.
Yeah.
Like today, fuck off.
2 weeks later? Yeah.
I mean, I fucking found out from the news and the radio. And
not even a good radio program. I mean, like one that is
it wasn't
news.
NPR.
Right.
It was a blurb talking about how there was a gun at my kid's school, and then how the next day there was a massive fight at Champlain Park.
Oh, not too far from where I hang out.
Yeah. And I don't know if you paid attention to the news of what happened at the state boys basketball tournament at the Target Center. All those Park Center kids were stomping the fuck out of another Park Center kid.
Yep. That Park Center is actually south of me. Champlain Park is north. That's how they work. They're actually two different schools.
And it's just like, these fucking kids are out of control. I mean, the principal, for God's sakes, when they were coming back from spring break, and they went back Tuesday, he sent out an email stating, I want to reiterate the behavioral guidelines. And we're a week away from that email, and there's fights galore. And my stepdaughter goes to a different middle school in the same city. Because she's on the other side of the dividing line.
Yep.
And I don't hear about this shit from her. She's like, I don't ever hear about fights. My kid's talking about there's fights all the time, and the word spreads. And they've told these kids, if you get caught filming a fight, you will be suspended. So they're trying to find a way to rope the information up like they're, calf roping at the rodeo. They're trying to contain this and compartmentalize it in a fashion that's really concerning. And the next time there's a fucking school board meeting, I'm going to go there and I'm going to raise fucking hell. This is bullshit.
Yeah. No, but one thing to consider, and I know they have good intentions when they say do not film it because they don't want to glorify it. They don't want a bunch of people just cheering it on or making it something for YouTube, right? But at the same point in time, that filming could be evidence used in some type of proceedings, So, yeah. And you're right. It comes across as being hushed then. Don't tell anybody or we don't want evidence of what's going on here.
They took a hardline stance on that a few months ago when some kid in my kid's grade, he got fucking stomped, man. I mean, he got slammed to the ground and they were stomping on his head. And he sustained a brain injury. I don't know if he's got a TBI permanent, but he had a bad concussion. And they said, people that were filming this, we better not find out that you're spreading the footage of it.
Right.
Why would you not want the footage of that?
Well, it depends on where it goes, right? If it goes to the cops, if it goes to some type of authorities or the school, okay, yes. But if it's going for YouTube, for clicks, for likes, for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, obviously it's sad what happened in Nashville, and then I transitioned to my own experience at my kid's school. I find it very interesting that I searched and could not find a phone number for the goddamn district superintendent.
Unposted, huh?
Unposted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure if I call the school district building and say, I need to have a conversation with the superintendent about the concerns over all the fights and the gun shit at my kid's school and how it seems like they're repeatedly trying to take away the students' ability to find out about it so that they can't report it to their parents. Because it just seems like you guys are trying to cover your asses more than anything.
Right.
But my kid's principal needs to fucking borrow a DVD copy of Lean On Me and then show up like Morgan Freeman with a baseball bat the next day.
And some chains on the door.
Put the goddamn fear of jail and a life behind bars into these little shit stains.
Yeah. And in the past, it used to be one of those things where you'd have problem kids, they would get expelled. They wouldn't come back, right? Mm-hmm. Where is that all now? Or maybe that stuff's going on and then they still let them back in. I mean, there has to be a 3 strikes you're out type of thing. You don't get to go here anymore,
My thoughts on this are, I put it in a Facebook group. We were talking about this. It sounded like it was all parents from kids at the school, or at least parents of kids in district schools. And I'm like, now's the time to take a hardline stance. Don't just expel this kid from this school. You blackball this family from the district so they have to go somewhere else. And then that will, I know, you're going, holy shit, that's nuclear option scorched earth.
And unfortunately,
what will that say to the other parents, though? Yeah. Oh, fuck, I better pull my head out of my ass and fucking lock my guns up and monitor my kid's phone and teach them better instead of just assuming that it's the teacher's responsibility to learn them how to be well-behaved individuals. That's fucking bullshit. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It Podcast Show. For the What Do We Call It Podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.